hope you're doing great. I'm going to talk to you today about different birthing options. I've had some women reach out to me with questions. Do you like this type of birth or this type of birth? Why? And so today I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. So I'm going to talk to you about different birthing options. Women have come to me and asked, and I'm just going to give you my honest opinion. I'm not a medical person. I'm not an expert. I'm not a midwife. I'm not a doula. I'm just a person who's birthed 3 babies and about to birth my 4th. So take everything you can, glean from it. Hopefully it'll help you, but don't hold me accountable because I'm not a doctor, I'm not a nurse, and I'm not a midwife. But yeah, I have had so far 2 different types of birthing experiences, and they both had very different outcomes. The options that most women have nowadays are hospital birth, a home birth, or a birthing center. Birthing centers are probably less common in some places, but those are the 3 main options that I'm aware of. Unless you have a, oopsies, we had one, on the way to the hospital or something in the car. So I've had so far, my twins were born in the hospital, and my third child, Joyful, was born at home. So my opinion on birthing may surprise some of you out there, may not, I don't know, but my personal opinion is to do whatever you want to do. And by that, what I mean is, my encouragement to women is to drown out the voices outside of their own space, their own person, except for like your spouse. So in my twins experience, and you can watch, I talked more in depth about each of my experiences in some other videos that I've made in the past, but my twins, I was planning on having a home birth for my first pregnancy, and then I discovered I had twins, and our midwife just felt that it would be a more safe environment to have my twins in the hospital. So I did. For me, it was not a good experience, but I think that doesn't have to be the case for everyone. For me, I felt very much like I was not empowered. I felt very much like decisions were being made for me that I didn't like. And I didn't have a good support team to back me up. And so for me, it was a really negative experience, and it was very traumatic for me. But at the end of the day, I had 2 healthy sons, and that's really what matters. But for me, another thing is assumptions were made. There wasn't good, like at one point I was given codeine, and I didn't even know that's what I was being given until I had been I was knocked out all day the first day of my kid's life. So just make sure if you want to go to a hospital, you want to make sure that you have a good detailed birthing plan and instructions, and you want a support system. I really encourage you to hire a doula if you're able to, and that's her role would be not only to be your advocate and to be emotional support and to help make sure what you want actually happens, but also doulas are trained in how to help you position your body in ways to help conducive labor, so that you have less pain and it's more comfortable. And also, like if, for instance, if someone's in the room that is bringing stress, they can respectfully ask them to leave. So the doulas are just a great support system. They know positions to move your body in, and I really encourage you to look into that. Or if you're able to also look into a nurse midwife who has hospital privileges, they are great. They tend to, not that the doctors are not good at what they do, but it's nice. I like nurse midwives. I feel like they have a different approach to birthing children, and I really like that approach. So if you feel like you're kind of scared, what if there's an emergency? What if something goes wrong and you have fear and anxiety? Then I think a hospital might be a good choice for you. Just make sure you're prepared and that you have a plan and you have support in place. That way you feel empowered. And one thing good that happened at the hospital, I had a good doctor who came when it was time to push. So I didn't have that support while I was in labor, but when I was pushing, I did have good support. And and I was able to birth my twins vaginally, which is very unheard of. So just another tidbit, if you happen to have a pregnancy with twins, don't assume you necessarily have to have a cesarean, because that's what hospitals will push. That's what anybody will push. But it's actually not true. For me, birthing twins was not very difficult, to be honest. When the first child came out, I was already my body was already at the right place. So the second child came out easily 10 minutes later. So Joshua, my second child, was the easiest birth I've ever had, to be honest. And so if you have no complications, that's something you can definitely do. So for me, I found a doctor who was open-minded and willing to let me choose that. Just a little tidbit, the nurse who was with me at the time said that was the first time in 19 years she had seen a woman deliver twins vaginally. And to me, that's sad, because women should know that that is a choice as long as the twins are in the right position and there's not health complications. Women should know that that is a viable choice. When I had my daughter at home, that was a good experience for me. I felt empowered. I felt like I was the one making the calls. Now, granted, they checked me to make sure everything was safe and that nothing was going wrong. And if it had been, I would have listened and heeded advice. But it was nice. It was nice to feel that I wasn't, there wasn't protocols that were, sometimes the hospital has to give generalized protocols that aren't specific to you as a person. So when you birth a child at home, it's more of an individualized plan, in my opinion. And I felt it was nice to have birth and then crawl in my tub and then crawl in my bed and hold my daughter. It was so nice. And then my family got to meet her when they got up in the morning. My kids got to meet her. So for me, the home birth experience was a pleasant one. But that's because I wasn't scared. I didn't feel like I had a high risk, and everything was going according to how it should be going, and I wasn't really scared. I had a backup doctor on call. I had a plan of action in case something went wrong, so I felt prepared. And for that, I also had a doula. Birthing centers are a good option if you're kind of in the middle. I did check out a birthing center in Atlanta that was closest to me, and there's a couple reasons I decided not to go that route. One was, it was a drive. I didn't want that drive from my house to the birthing center. It was probably 45 minutes, and that was a little further than I was comfortable with. And the other reason is they have midwives on call, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I personally like the idea of knowing who my midwife would be and developing a relationship over my prenatal care experience. So I like that idea better than whichever day of the week I happen to go into labor, that would be the person who assisted me. It's not bad, it's definitely not bad, but it just wasn't my preference. But yeah, if you look into birthing centers, if you have any near where you live, the benefits of the one in Atlanta, I can't speak for other places, but in Atlanta, it's kind of a nice hybrid option. They're more holistic than a hospital would be, although they do have to follow some hospital protocols, but they're definitely, in my opinion, more holistically open-minded. And you do get a midwife, and they are backed up by a doctor that's nearby. And so, and also in Atlanta, the birthing center is close to the hospital. And so if an emergency arises, you would take, I think it's like a 5-minute drive to the hospital. So that's convenient for some people. And it does, they made it really nice. They made it like a bedroom setting. So you feel like you're in a bedroom. And so that's a very nice, they allow you to set the ambiance however you want it. And I don't know if the rules have changed since COVID, but when I was pregnant, they would allow families to come in as well. So it's a nice option, kind of a hybrid in the middle. It's not your house and your comfort zone, but you get the benefit of being close to the hospital. The downsides, I guess, is you're not in the hospital. So even if there's an emergency, you still would have to take transportation to the hospital. So it's not as quick as being in the hospital itself. And obviously it's a nice bedroom, but it's not your bedroom. There's something about being in your house that's more comforting. So that's my feedback. Overall, I don't think you can go wrong as long as you have a plan, you have support, and you know that you're gonna feel empowered. And so that's my opinion. Let me know if you have questions. And again, I made some other videos that we'll post links below too. I don't remember what they were called, but I talked about in detail each of my birthing experiences that I've had so far. So check those out if you'd like to learn. Another big point is just don't feel shame and don't feel pressured. Like don't feel, and if you mess up and things don't go exactly how you want them, just know that it's okay. That's something I had to learn with my first pregnancy, because a lot of things didn't go how I wanted them to go. And even after the birth, I had a hard time with nursing at first. And so just have grace on yourself, be patient with yourself, And don't walk in shame, because that's the worst thing you can do. This is our Super Bowl, mamas. Like, that's what my husband told me. You're prepping for a Super Bowl. This is like the biggest event ever for a woman's body. And it's a big deal. And so be gracious to yourself. We can do this. We were made for, if you're meant to be a biological mother, then you were made for this. However, it is a big deal. So give yourself some grace. Let me know if you have any questions, and feel free to post your stories or your comments below. I appreciate you watching my video today. Be sure to like it and give a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and click that little bell if you want to be notified when my new videos are coming out.